Hey everyone, Dr. Byrne here for Revive TV. If you're a tradie, if you live with a tradie, or like all of us, we know a tradie, you'll commonly hear the number one complaint from them is all around their back and their back pain. And it's a tough job and it demands a lot on their back. So today's episode is the 4-minute lower back workout for tradies. Okay, so this workout today is all about allowing tradies, and let's be honest, anyone with back pain, to be fair, give them a routine that they can do to help them either prevent their pains from coming back, or if they're in the middle of having some stiffness and whatnot, allow them to work better, and so when they're on the job, they can perform their duties without the constant nagging, or at least with great difficulty. So in the workout, they're going to be 4 minutes, and literally it only takes 4 minutes, including transitions. If you're really, really fast, it might only take 3.5 minutes. So they're going to be 5 exercises. There's going to be 2 mobility exercises, 1 kind of activation or strength kind of exercise, and 2 stretches to finish with. So enjoy the 4-minute lower back workout for tradies. So the first 2 exercises we're going to do are mobility exercise. One's called an iron cross and the other one's called scorpion. And they are kind of the same thing, but one on the tummy and then one on the back. So first of all, I'll show you the iron cross. Arms out. And then the scorpion, which is the opposite, just lying on your tummy, doing the same thing, arms out. They're the first 2, iron cross and scorpion. The next exercise is an activation exercise. So we're going to try and activate the muscles of our hips, of our lower back and our core. And this is important for people who are physically working, to turn on the muscles before you start your day. And that way it's going to prevent potential injuries, but it also wakes the muscles up so they're ready to go as soon as you get into your physical work. So we're going to go into a quarter squat. So we're going to start here with feet kind of just shoulder width apart. And we just want to get down into a squat position. What we also want to do is we want to turn the feet in a little bit. So just gripping the ground, and as you grip the ground, I feel the muscles in my inner thighs activating. I feel the outer part of my glutes activating, and these are some of the things we want to do. So we're gripping and going down, okay? Doesn't have to be deep. We're just getting these muscles turned on. And from the side, what's important is we want to make sure that these hips, that they hinge back first, that we just don't drop down. We want them to hinge back before we squat down. Okay, that's really, really important in allowing to keep the curve of our back somewhat curved, but it certainly makes us not lose the shape of our spine by going bending too far forward. For example, this is not what we want to see. So you can see my back starting to arch here. We want to hinge back and just drop down, trying to maintain a fairly neutral spine as well. That's the activation exercise. So the last 2 we're going to do are stretches. For those of you who've seen some of my mobility exercise before, you'll be familiar with these 2. So the first one is a hip flexor stretch, and this is a little muscle that in natural motion flexes the hip like this. So if you're in a bending position, you're going to be flexed. If you're sitting, you're going to be flexed. Cyclists commonly get quite tight here because they're over on their bike all the time. So this is a great one for most people, but especially those who are in a flex position, like a lot of trades people are. So starting where I am here, we're going to be stretching this side here first. So this leg is 90 degrees, this leg is 90 degrees, and all my weight is just moved forward. And then to activate the hip flexor, we want to squeeze our buttock forward. And so we'll feel it in our thigh, but now feel it in the lower part of our abdominal area, which is where we're really getting the stretch. We hold for 30 seconds, Then we can swap over, doing the same thing, getting our position, pushing forward, activating the glute, and holding again for another 30 seconds. Okay, so the final stretch is we're going to stretch the posterior part of our hip, so basically our glute muscles, our buttock muscles. And so the way we do that is that the leg we're going to stretch, or the hip we're going to stretch, is out in front of us, like so. So we're going to bring it around in front like so, and the back leg is straight. So I'm trying to get this on an angle where you can see. And in this position, we're just going to come down and hold, or we could pulse out to the side and back as well. So we're trying to get this posterior part of our hip. So we can hold it like this for 30 seconds, and then we would just swap over, and we come into the position like so, the same thing. Posterior hip, we can hold in this position, or we can pulse out and back behind us. So I'll just quickly go over each exercise and give it a little explanation as to what you want to feel and what you should be doing. So in the first two, where you're doing the iron cross and the scorpion, where you've got your arms stretched out and you're bringing your opposite leg over to your outstretched hand, you're actually trying to get your foot to touch your hand. Me personally, I can't do that. But what we don't want to do is have our shoulders come up too much as we bring our leg across. We want to maintain those shoulder position back down as much as we can, and that goes for the scorpion as well. When we're on our tummy, we're down, that when we're reaching across, bringing our leg behind us and trying to touch the opposite hand, that we don't take the shoulder off too much as we do it. In terms of the activation, the glute activation, what I really like you to focus on is two things. One is the feet, turn into the ground, so we're activating the muscles inside of our thighs and our glutes, and then also from the side view when you're doing the action, is that we're hinging back at the hips first, not just sitting straight down. So the hinge is really, really important. And then for the final two, the stretch exercises, the main thing is with the hip flexors, once you're in the position and your weight's coming forward, that you're really squeezing the buttock muscle and pushing your hip forward, because that'll activate the hip flexor more. And then for the final one, when you're doing the posterior hip, is you just want to make sure that when you're stretching, that you're pushing the hip out laterally to the side of you and backwards behind you as well. And that'll allow you to get the stretch that you need. Good luck with the 4-minute lower back mobility workout for tradies. For people who sit a lot, this is good for you. For people who cycle a lot, this is also great for you. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time for another episode of Revive TV.